What is good, Guardians? Welcome to this week's episode of Destiny Unplugged. I am Soldier Only for Sports Nerd Web, and we have a lot to get into this week. As you know, yesterday was the Destiny 2 gameplay premiere event, and wow. Needless to say, obviously I was way hyped for Destiny 2 before the event, but needless to say, after the event, I am way more hyped than I was going into it. The gameplay looked phenomenal. And also they didn't have a TWAB. They didn't have a this week at Bungie this week, obviously, since that they had this event. So um, we won't be getting into the TWAB this week. But so pretty much this week we'll just be talking about my thoughts on the Destiny 2 event and also what we learned as well. Um, so to start it off, they started with a phenomenal trailer. If you missed it, you can obviously find it on twitch.tv/Bungie. You can go to their Twitch page and look on their archived streams, and you can find it there, or you can obviously just find it on YouTube. Will probably be the easiest. Um, but yeah, to start things off, they started with an amazing trailer with Commander Zavala. It kind of showed off how the tower was built. It kind of went back in time a little bit, and it had like when they were building the tower and stuff like that. And then we also saw the beginning of the Cabal attack on the tower, and we got to see quite a bit of the first mission that they called Homecoming, um, and that was when it actually showed some of the gameplay. And the gameplay, it looks like that the mechanics are all there. You know, the traditional Bungie and even like the Destiny 1 mechanics that you saw. It looks really solid. The shooting mechanics. There was all new weapons that they were using in the gameplay. Um, there's actually there was a couple new weapon classes. There was actually some rocket launchers in there, and there was an exotic submachine gun in there. So we finally have submachine guns and grenade launchers. And I guess the weapon slots are going to work differently. Instead of like primary, special, and heavy, they're going to be like energy based. I think there was like kinetic. I can't remember what the other one was, and then like power. So then that way it's going to allow for more combinations of weapons, and what they said is it gives the players a lot more freedom to use the weapons that they want to use. And there's also, it was just amazing looking. There's going to be 4 new worlds. There's Io, Titan, Nessus, and then there's what they call the European Dead Zone on Earth, and they said it's actually the biggest play space by far that they've ever developed. And that's gonna, from what it looked like, that's gonna pretty much serve as kind of like the social space. It looks like that they also call it like the farm. It's kind of where humanity and everyone from the tower has kind of regrouped and kind of planted their flag, so to speak, and regrouping and healing and amassing an army and an offensive to take on this Cabal attack that destroyed their home. We lost their powers, and we need to work to get it back. Another cool thing they talked about, there's actually going to be clans. This thing I was actually really stoked to hear on, because me being for the most part in Destiny 1, I played most of the game solo. As you know, I've talked about it a lot before in the past. But so what they're doing, they're actually bringing in the clan system into the game. So now there's the clan systems in the game. So it gives you tools, to build clans, and gives you tools to organize fire teams and events and things like that. And then there's a new thing called guided games. So if you're a solo player, it gives you a chance to find a clan to team up with for that raid or nightfall or trials or something like that. So they even talked about it. What they're really trying to do is make every mode and every piece of content of Destiny 2 accessible for every single player. Luke Smith said something about only about 50% of players completed the raids in Destiny 1, and he said that's not good enough for Destiny 2. They want to obviously see that number at 100. So me, as being a majority of solo player in Destiny 1, that I'm really stoked to hear that. Lately I've been playing with um, with community members and stuff from Team MZ and some of the people that drop by on the stream in the stream. So we have been playing. I've been playing in fire teams a lot more. Of course, obviously, there's going to be a ton of new story missions. They said that this is another thing I'm really stoked on here, and there's actually going to be more cinematics than they've ever had before. So it's no secret. We've definitely talked about it before in the recent past, where Destiny 2, you could tell that they're obviously focusing a lot more on story and a cinematic experience. That was one of the major hits on Destiny 1 up until Taken King, because when Taken King came out, that was when they kind of fixed a lot of that. Which is good news, because Luke Smith was actually the director on The Taken King, and he's actually the director of Destiny 2, with Mark Noseworthy as the project lead. So it's awesome that those two are working together, because they've put out a lot of great Destiny 1 content in the past. So yeah, and there's going to be more cinematics than they've ever had before, more story missions than they've ever had before, and obviously new strikes. And they did say that there is one new raid. So it looks like Destiny 2 is going to launch with at least one new raid, maybe more. I don't know. I could see, obviously, if there is only one raid in the vanilla version, so to speak, of Destiny 2, obviously I could see them adding more in the future. Another interesting thing they talked about as well is all PvP modes, so all Crucible modes in Destiny 2 are going to be 4v4, which it seemed like the crowd that was in attendance there, it seemed like that they really liked it, and I think that's a good thing as well too, because sometimes 6v6 can be a little too much, 3v3 is a little too small. I think 4v4 is that perfect balance. Because they even said that they want to make the Crucible and the PvP easy to play and to get into, but hard to master. And I think that's a phenomenal plan for Crucible and PvP, because that's pretty much, I mean, that's pretty much like my take on it, and my thing with it. Because when I first started playing Destiny, I didn't really play a lot of PvP or Crucible at all, but I have in recent times gotten into it more and have really been trying to get better at it. And the thing, as I talked a lot about before this event, I kept talking about the open world, how the map and getting into these activities and how all that was going to work. I was leading up to the event, when we were talking about a lot what we wanted to see, this was kind of my top point, what I always wanted to see. I wanted it to be more open world and all that. And from what it seems like, from what they talked about yesterday, it seems like it is going to be. They said that you can actually enter activities and strikes and all that directly from the planet that you're already in. So say that you're already on a planet, you're already in an instance, you're already on the ground, and you want to go to a strike like on a different planet or whatever. I guess you can pull up like this overworld map, go to it, and you'll fly right to it. You won't have to go out to orbit, select it, and then go back in. So that's awesome that they're doing that. That will definitely cut back on kind of that downtime that you would have. And the neat thing too with kind of the open world, with the world exploration, one thing they said, patrols are going to be returning. So there is going to be patrols, but there's also going to be a lot more to do on top of that. I'm sure patrols will probably even be done a little bit differently, because they also talked about I think some stuff that they're calling adventures, lost sectors, public events. Actually, and they said public events with heroic objectives. So now that I guess it's going to be like there's going to be public events with maybe modifiers and stuff like that even, and then they said there's a ton of stuff throughout the world for you to find, loot chests. I guess there's even like treasure maps, to where you can find treasure chests and things like that, loot chests. And then they also said that there's like bosses at the end of some of these public events where you have to kill them to get a key to open up a loot chest or something like that. So, and which will obviously probably give you a little bit better gear than some of the more standard ones. So, me personally, as someone that does a lot of patrols and just the random like patrol missions and daily bounties and stuff, I do those at the start of my stream every day. so that makes me thrilled to hear that there's a lot of this new stuff like this that they're putting into it as well. And they did say at the end that the PC version will actually be available on Battle.net. So I guess that it looks like that they're not going the stream route. So yeah, it looks like that, which is Battle.net. If I remember right, I think it's actually Blizzard, Activision and Blizzard's PC client. Yeah, we already talked about how the weapon slots are a little bit different. They did talk about, speaking of the Crucible, they did talk about, they did show off a new Crucible mode called Countdown, which is, I can't remember what mode they compared it to. Something on Call of Duty, I think is what it was, or Rainbow Six or something. But it was something like a battle, or there's bombs, and one team, I think, it was like one team defends it or something like that, and then the other one tries to activate him or something like that. I can't remember quite what it was. I haven't really watched a lot of it. There is a ton of new videos and content and stuff up from a lot of the Destiny content creators, because some of them were able to record gameplay and stuff. I did watch like a few minutes of Holtzman playing Countdown, and it was on a new map and everything, because obviously there's going to be a ton of new maps and modes and stuff for PvP for Crucible as well. So you know what would be awesome for them to see is, I haven't played it, but I heard about one of the PvP modes in, I believe it was Gears 4, called I think it was just called Dodgeball. So it was like a game of dodgeball, where say you get killed, then you go out on the sideline, and then your team has to kill one of the other players for one of your team members to come back in, right? Just like how dodgeball is. But I think it'd be awesome to see a mode like that in Destiny 2. That'd be really cool. Okay, all right. We already talked about the new weapon types, the SMGs and grenade launchers, clans and the guided games, 4 new worlds. The 3 new subclasses. Okay, they showed off 3 new subclasses. There was the Dawnblade for the Warlock, which it was when they popped the super, it was like this like flaming sword. Actually, it was really reminiscent of one of those first Destiny 2 teaser images that came out like last year, over a year ago or something. But it's like a flaming sword thing, and then they hover up in the ground, and you can literally like just throw like these bolts of fire, like flaming swords type things, where you can just rain it down on them. The Titan has a new one called the Sentinel, which is a really Captain America kind of style shield. So it's a shield obviously, so you can obviously deflect attacks, and then you can also bash enemies with it and throw it, and it'll actually bounce off enemies, so you can actually get multiple enemies at once. It was very Captain America style. It was pretty dope to see. And the Hunter, this one was awesome. The new Hunter one, Arc Strider. It's really reminiscent of Blade Dancer. It's one of those roaming ones where bounces real quick between them, but instead of 2 blades, it's actually a staff or like a bow, like one. Just one staff, and it was awesome. The moves that you could do, and he moves super quick, and you could take out a lot of multiple enemies at once, and it was awesome to see. And I talked about the new director going to the events without going to orbit. All in all, it looked phenomenal. I think the version that they showed the gameplay was actually on PS4 or PS4 Pro, because I noticed some of the prompts when it came up on the screen, it said like hit square, to interact or whatever it was. So I know that the PC version was available there to play for the people there, and I did see a tweet from Say No to Rage saying that the PC version was very smooth and very solid. So that's good news. So far it seems like that the PC version's looking just as good as well too. So. Like I said, I am so hyped. Like it looked so good. Destiny 1 was, like I've said before, even for a 3-year-old game, it's still very gorgeous as it is now. And Destiny 2, it looks even better. It was nice and crisp, and the colors, the sound was phenomenal. We haven't heard any confirmation from the company yet as far as dedicated server 60 frames per second. TepTep did tweet out that he did get like confirmation from somebody. He didn't say who or whatever, but he said that the console versions are locked. Can you turn that off? That the console versions are locked at 30 frames per second. I think the PC might be at 60. I'm not sure, but I have a feeling it looks like that the consoles are probably going to be at 30 and the PC probably at 60. I haven't heard anything as far as like the server system. I haven't heard anything along those lines. Obviously, we're all hoping it's dedicated servers, especially with it being on PC, right? So, yeah. So I mean, it's all in all, I think it was a phenomenal event. They did really good. The trailers were incredible. It seemed like the crowd there was really hyped, and they were pretty loud throughout. So like I said, if you missed it, I highly suggest checking it out on YouTube. Just search, Destiny 2 gameplay event, premiere event, or Destiny 2 live stream. I'm sure you can find it on there. It was pretty much about an hour long, which is pretty much what most of us were expecting. So, but that's going to do it for now. I'm going to hop on stream. If you want to check out the live stream sometime, stop by twitch.tv/soldieronly. What we're going to be doing next week, if you've heard me talk about before, the Daily Dose, it's just a small talk we do at the beginning of every stream, Monday through Friday, usually starting at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We usually just take one topic and then talk about it for about 10-15 minutes, and so you can jump into chat and join the conversation. What we're going to be doing next week is actually E3 week, so we're going to be talking about all week about E3 stuff. So Monday, I believe we're going to talk about the Xbox conference, so what we would like to see, what we think we'll see, and things like that. So Monday Xbox, Tuesday Sony, Wednesday Nintendo. Thursday, I think we'll do like some of the publishers and developers like Bethesda, and I can't remember if EA's having a conference or not, or if they're doing their own thing. And then Friday, we'll probably do just all around, predictions and what we expect and what we want to see and things like that. So, yeah, and that's at the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/soldieronly. That's going to do it for this week. Stay tuned to the channel for a lot more Destiny 2 news and content as well. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button, sub to the channel for more content in the future, and we will see you in the next one. Cheers.